Hello, greetings once again. This is your #1 crypto channel, Cyberchain Technologies. Just kidding. But yeah, I just wanted to say hi to all my followers. It's been probably about maybe a month or two since my last update, and a lot has happened. The market has certainly pumped. Altcoins seen a nice pump, 100, 200%. And now we're starting to see some cutbacks on that. So August 21st, 2022, a lot of things are happening again in the crypto world. Some good things in terms of regulation, it's happening. So that what that does is it really removes the bad actors, right, from certain crypto parts of the industry, right? So it allows for the big players to understand that the government is going to assist in providing more transparency and working around the legality systems, right? So we have a very huge drawback right now in terms of the crypto world. So I'm just going to use my phone while I'm speaking to you guys to give you guys some real insights. So the big thing to look out for right now is that 140,000 Bitcoin is going to be released back to the original owners. So owners that owned Bitcoin back in 2014, and they were on storing their crypto on a centralized exchange, Mt.GOX, it got hacked, right? So 140,000 Bitcoin. Back then it was about $600 US for one, and now it's about 21,000 roughly US for one, right? So what would you do if you were in that situation? You're getting back 10, 15, 20, maybe even more Bitcoin, right? Because back then it was just $600. What would you do? Would you ride and hold, or would you say, hey, you know what? I need some money right now. Things are tough, right? Now we're living in a post-COVID world. Back then in 2014, life was absolutely different, right? So I think what is going to probably happen, we could see some, once that's returned to the rightful owner, that we can see some sell-off. So that's going to begin in August. There's going to be a lot of capitulation. There's also going to be a lot of good news in terms of BlackRock signing a deal with Coinbase to allow their billionaire investors to jump into buying Bitcoin, right? So you're going to see some choppy waters between now and probably early next year. And in saying that, those are going to be sort of really advantages to the buyers, right? It might not seem like that, but it's definitely an advantage to people buying into this Bitcoin business, right? So we have the BTC Hash Ribbons suggest that it could be an extreme buying signal right now. From what I'm looking at the charts, every time you got the buy signal from this BTC Hash Ribbons map, it literally pumped at least 48 to 65%, in some cases 200%. Bitcoin itself, not the altcoins, only Bitcoin. So since December 2019 to 2022, we've had multiple occasions where the hash Ribbons buy signal has appeared, and when that occurred shortly after, I would say probably within 3 months, right? So for example, April 25th, 2020 to July 2020, right? July 12th, 2020, it pumped about 38%. I had another one in December 2020. And then after that, it pumped 200%, right? All the way up to August 2021. So that pump lasted, 3 months. We are looking at a buy signal right now around the 21,200 US mark. We don't know if it's going to be a 30%, 48%, none at all, or 200%. But what it means when BlackRock is getting into this, if I were a holder and I understood the gravity of, a wealth management company who's in charge of $10 trillion assets just within their own enterprise, I would actually be holding on my Bitcoin. However, I might be tempted to sell a few as well, perhaps 10%, right? So a lot of people, if they choose to sell 10%, then that could obviously have some ramifications in terms of price action. However, this is an extreme buying opportunity in terms of Bitcoin. I, for one, never thought that I would see $21,000 Bitcoin US again, right? Especially after flirting with $40,000, $50,000, 38, maybe even 32 and $30,000. Once we broke that 30,000, it was right down to the downside. In terms of this choppy waters, anything is possible. You might even see something down to 10 grand. I don't know. But that would suggest that this is really an anomaly time, right? It's a time where governments are getting very strict on certain exchanges, and they want to just, root out the bad actors, because this is a technology that's being widely adopted through corporations, through certain governments, making it legal tender, right? Think about it. When a government turns to something as legal tender, such as gold back in the day, it wasn't because it was nothing. It had a certain amount of value during that time, right? So therefore, back in the day, gold, used to be sort of like the backup for the dollar, right? The US dollar, until they abolished that in like the 70s. So since then, the dollar was not backed by anything, right? Wasn't backed by gold, but the reason why it was backed by gold, because that was something of significant hard value. That's what we see today with the Bitcoin adoption. So what I wanted to mention with you today is the opportunity at hand, with the understanding, however, that there are going to be recovered Bitcoins that will be placed back into the hands of the rightful owners, which is amazing news, number one, that the FBI was able to trace, even way back, going back to 2014, to trace where each Bitcoin went, right? So it was stolen from the exchange, and then it got dispersed somewhere else. They were able to track that and recover these Bitcoins. It shows immense transparency in this technology, right? So don't denounce that, don't discount that. That's amazing. It's the only thing, because it's jumped in value. As I mentioned, a lot of people could probably sell if we're going into a recession. This capitulation, this choppy waters could last, for another year or so, 18 months, who knows? Don't forget that in a year and a half, Bitcoin will be going through a halving. So that means in 2024, probably May 2024, Bitcoin will have, and the miners that are mining the Bitcoin will literally be rewarded, less, so half less basically. So that's really not too in the distant future. So even if it had choppy waters for the next 18 months, it's not a big deal in my eyes, in my opinion. I'm not a professional financial advisor. However, that's getting ready for the next stages, right? So the halving will begin in 2024, and then usually we see 6 months after that, things start, rocketing off. But with this adoption, the crypto we're facing right now, when you have BlackRock coming in as one of the largest players in the world, when you have BlackRock coming in, that's no small feat, And what that tells me and what that indicates is the cavalry has arrived when it comes to Bitcoin, the adoption, the awareness, its value, its perceived value. You have the CEO of Kraken saying by the end of 2022, he hopes to buy a Bugatti with 1 Bitcoin. Phenomenal, phenomenal. That's the owner of Kraken Exchange. So let's not discount what the value of Bitcoin could be. Invest, don't over leverage. Dollar cost average is usually the best, right? These are great small buying option, opportunities, right? When you buy, take a lot and you buy sometimes, what happens is, you have to ride the wave because you have nothing else to put in, right? You're just riding the wave. Whatever you put in, it just, have to wait maybe 12 months for it, maybe more, for it to ride all the way down and then start picking up momentum, right? So as these owners sell their Bitcoin, you're going to have new people just coming into the business and buying Bitcoin, right? You're going to have more growth awareness. So BlackRock, they manage $10 trillion of assets, right, in value. However, they work with partners. These partners culminate into a total of $40 trillion in total, right? 10 trillion from BlackRock. You have, another mix of all these other clients that they work with who have trillions of dollars already and eyeing this great opportunity. So even if, as people sell their Bitcoin, when the Celsius crashed, the Celsius DeFi exchange crashed a few months ago, they essentially sold about 80,000 Bitcoin. So 80,000 Bitcoin, that took a huge beating on the price. It just dropped immensely. So what we see now is about almost double that possibly coming to the market, right? So that's why I said, you look for an opportunity for 9, 10, 11, 12,000, you don't know. And, these are intricate, interesting times. So that's in a nutshell what we see here. The fear and greed index right now is about 27, which means that it's cooling down. Today is 27, yesterday was 29, right? So it's kind of like the fear and greed index, goes up and goes down. So it's last week, I think it was August 19th. A few days ago it was 33. So the lower it gets, the better the opportunity for buying, that is, right? And yeah, it's at the moment the price has broken down the EMA 200, and once it broke that, I guess fear within the Bitcoin market just happened, and it just capitulated downwards. So what a lot of people are comparing right now, they're comparing that to 2019, right? So in 2019, there was a buy after the drop, and then all of a sudden there was a spike, and they're wondering if we can see that again. Right, so these things take time to play out. As I mentioned, it could be the span of 3 to 6 months where that's when you can see things happening. Now, Bitcoin is very closely tied to the stock market, the global turmoil that's occurring right now. There's a lot of fear in the market. People need liquid cash, right? They need to do things. So in times like these, you might find some people being able to sell due to hardships, etc. However, once Bitcoin decouples from all of this turmoil, and once the value and this digital scarcity becomes more well known, especially amongst institutional clients who have the funds available to have research like what I'm providing you right now, but they have that one-on-one with their broker. Once you have more of this awareness, more growth, you're going to start seeing more investment from these institutional clients. Speaking of investments, a lot of blue chip companies have been investing into the Web3 verse, right? So they're basically in the backgrounds supporting projects in the new Web3 environments, and there's a list of them, that's out there. But the awareness is growing. They're looking at these companies such as startups, right, that can perform extremely well. Yeah, so the interest rates have been going up steadily. That, could reach a point maybe by the year end, where it's going to probably maximize the amount of rate increases that they can do. And what that means is perhaps in 2023, you might see a jump for risk on assets such as Bitcoin. Why? Because they might have to turn on the printing machine again, right? Right now, it's for 2022, the thought process is let's get a hold of this, let's hold the bull by the horn and slow it down, right? Slow the chariot down, right? Because inflation was really escaping everyone. What you have is heightened interest, increased interest rates, and once that is increased to a certain point, they would have to slow down. Now, inflation is still going to be churning and growing, however, at a slower pace, right? So investing in inflation hedges, such as perhaps real estate, that could be a choppy one as well, because a lot of lenders in the US are already running out of money. That's significant, right? There's a headline out there that says US mortgage banks are running out of money. So perhaps the other shoe may need to drop and something might happen. Slowdown of interest rates, or maybe an uptick in interest rates. Bitcoin being observed as this real digital scarce asset, more awareness, more learning about it, more car dealerships, for example, are accepting crypto, right? You can now give your Bitcoin and they'll, and some fiat, and they'll gladly sell your car, right? But most of the value has been holding and being patient, right? So any additional income, that's great. But I think that's about it for now. Let's check one more thing. So the market went up from the 19th of July until the 14th of August, and it did look like all the bad was behind us, right? However, it suddenly dropped, and both ETH and Bitcoin losing critical support. And all this likely happened due to maybe an increased profit taking from the altcoin market, right? So the alts started doing great from June, July, that type of thing started going up, and I was amazed to see some of the green candles on the alts, right? Just a matter of time till that start dialing back and capitulating due to people selling off. ETH broke the psychological level of 2000, trapping the longs, and stocks hit key resistance, right? So stocks rallied 20 to 25% from their lows, went above their May highs, traded around the middle of January and March range. So, things were looking up and up, right? Regulatory clampdown seems to be ramping up, and all sorts of regulators are targeting various sectors in the market, as I mentioned. So Hold Not is facing the police after denying withdrawals. So Singapore-based firm Hold Not operates a platform that brings together crypto lenders and borrowers, right? It recently halted withdrawals and prevented its users from accessing and moving those funds around, right? So it's now facing a police probe. It's unclear what this may have in terms of repercussions. However, a similar thing happened with the UST and in the past in Celsius, right? So we've seen a number of things like that, negative cases for Bitcoin because it just puts a bad tarnish, but that means the regulations and regulators are becoming more aware and they're going after these bad actors, right? So in the meantime, you have Michael Saylor, who's real Bitcoin bull, and for that matter, and is really just all in on Bitcoin, right? The Ethereum merge is upcoming September 15th. That's another one. And we should see, it might be a buy the rumor, sell the news, meaning that I was expecting to see a hype up to the 15th and then all of a sudden blow off top and then things start capitulating. But I'm seeing that capitulation now because maybe people are smart. They're not going to wait till September 14th and pull the rug and sell something. They might as well start moving that around now. So a lot of different factors, the Mt.GOX as well. Japan's top online broker quits Russia crypto mining. So Russia has cheap energy and great for mining. However, due to sanctions, a lot of companies are not even going to step foot in that zone, right? Ethereum and Ripple are having a little bit of a beef. Not going to delve too much into that right now. And Wall Street gets a roadmap into crypto. Wall Street has learned if you can't beat them, join them. Yeah, that's something I knew about like a few years ago, right? When my mentor Tika Tiwari was mentioning that, hey, if it's one thing you can guarantee, the greed of Wall Street. They know the opportunity that exists in crypto, and that money that that the greed exists in Wall Street. So it's just a matter of time until they come set their sights on crypto and try to control that and manage it. And what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulate it. Crypto scams have dropped, right? Along with the value of crypto assets, so that's good, right? Not just the crypto value is dropping, the scams are dropping, right? Okay, so a series of transactions resulting in the transfer of 145,000 ETH in the addresses linked to a wallet where that was dormant has suddenly awoken this week. So who knows what that can mean? Okay, technical analysis. Yeah, Ethereum is heavily affected by regulations, and something I posted about in my 9/11 Lambo Instagram. As the recent ban of Tornado Cash, right, where they arrested the developer. Ethereum is sort of being affected by this, right? So we'll see. It could have some drawbacks. Ethereum is being attacked, as some would say. So Ethereum is moving to proof of stake. If and when they move to proof of stake, are they going to be forced to censor transactions, right? If validators have to censor transactions, the network could face serious trouble, mainly because slashing could break the consensus mechanism. It's possible for a POS network that has implemented slashing to be able to function if some validators are censoring transactions. Now, this comes in terms of regulation, right? A bit technical, so I'm not going to delve into that too much. Essentially, the network will break into different networks and the whole system will be in disarray. That's if the regulators come in and say, you need to censor your validators, right, or transactions. To an extent, it's unfortunate that this has happened just a few months before the merge. Yeah, it really is. So that tells us, folks, that you know, a lot of people were saying, okay, you know what, I'm gonna buy a lot of ETH. I'm just gonna stack up on ETH because they're gonna have this triple halving, deflationary, they're gonna burn ETH and all of a sudden. But don't forget that I learned it the hard way. The true king is Bitcoin as of right now, and for the, you know, for the long run, essentially. So the truth is that crypto was left unchecked for so long that, you know, it just escaped the regulators. So now is the time for regulation, and we'll see some more of that in the coming months and perhaps years, right? So again, buying opportunity, dollar cost averaging, not over leveraging, and anything is possible in this market, right? Well, that's it for now. Mindset is everything. Stay in the know. It can be easy to get stuck in the past. Think about all the losses, think about all the hardships in all aspects of our lives. You know, and I'm quoting this from one of my mentors as well. Focus on the decisions that we make and focus on the road ahead. You know, make the best decision given the knowledge of what's happening now. Just scanning through some notes, and that's it. All right, folks. Well, have yourself a pleasant rest of your evening, and I'll jump back online soon. Let's have a look at what the next month or two will bring as well. But hopefully, I'll be online before that. Right? Follow me at 911 Lambo on Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. Watch out for any updates. Take care. Peace. Thank you.